Hello, my name is Kevin. We are Dirty 20 Gaming, and it is Saturday, and that means it's time for Away Team Day Q. We'll get to that in a minute. Some of you are going, ooh, some of you are going, how dare he think he can pull this off? Some of you are going, what now? Isn't this supposed to be day 6? We'll get to that. But first, the technicals first, and then the peoples who are more important, but I have to do the technicals first. So, our virtual tabletop of choice is Astral Tabletop, astraltabletop.com. Go and check them out. They're amazing. No, this is not a paid commercial. We switched over to them because it has been wonderful. We'll hit Solon back in a second, and we will fix the graphics as necessary once that happens. Just give us a moment while he gets back. I'll keep talking. Our virtual tabletop is astraltabletop.com. The imagery you see being used around the framework and that sort of thing is all from Pixabay. The tokens and the miniatures on them, that art is all built in Hero Forge. And the art behind me and some of the other art on the channel is by our very own Thunderscape 7. With that, let's move on to the peoples. And yes, I know the boxes are kind of messed up at the moment. When he comes back, we'll move them around and fix them. But let's go around the people that are here. First of all, let's start this week with Bison, bringing us Pete's Sakes, a Canadian in space. Thank you so much for joining us. And what's the plan in the upcoming weeks?
Plan upcoming weeks is a little bit more Pete's Sakes, and on Sundays I play Bickford Barkswipe, a bugbear rogue who really likes food. He's in some trouble in the world at large. Hosted here on Dirty 20 Gaming.
Yeah, they're all in trouble, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna be shoving my balls in somebody's face, that's for sure.
And they'll have to tune in to see exactly what that means while I mutter and move stuff around here. Next, Hellhounds 20. I know I can count on you to fill some time while you tell us all the stuff that you're doing. What are you up to now? What is your current workload looking like?
A lot of my games have not actually been played for a while, mostly because some players have got scheduling issues and also some hiatuses.
Sure.
And mostly recovering from second vaccination. So
right.
That was fun. That was fun.
Hey.
Well, hooray for second vaccination, at the very least.
Other than that, I am still planning to do a learning game with a group of very lovely VR chat players.
Oh, cool.
One of them has actually volunteered to talk with me one-on-one so they can learn how the character sheet and stuff works, so they can pass it on to the other, so all I have to worry about is being a dungeon master.
Oh, lovely. That is... a lot of people, the people that aren't dungeon masters are going to go, okay, whatever. Those of us that are dungeon masters are going to go, yeah, let me just be the dungeon master tonight. Wouldn't that be a joy?
The time zones with these people is insane, because a majority of them live in Australia.
Oh yes, yeah, I did that. I got up at 3:30 in the morning. So the only time I'm
able to actually talk with them is the only way I'm able to talk to them is 4 a.m.
Yep. I got up at 3:30 in the morning to play with Dead Aussie Gamer and Company for 12 weeks. It was absolutely worth it, but it was completely exhausting. But thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna be worth it. Yeah.
It is. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Yeah.
Tonight he went away, but he came back. He messed up the video, but I fixed it. Solan, played for us by Nick. Thank you so much for joining us. And you've had a busy little while. How is your game growing? Speaking of herding cats, you have cats in a whole different time zone. One of yours is in Europe. How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, that's going fine. I only had to throw half of them down a well to keep them from doing other bad decisions. But you know what? You do what you got to do.
Sometimes the best thing you can do is throw them down a well.
Although the downside is they did ask me how big the well is, and I went, I think I have an idea. But, I'm sure that's a Wednesday problem.
That means you got days left before you got to figure that stuff out.
You know,
Speaking
they're
of-
gonna figure something's up when they ask me, when I decide to ask them, can you do an investigation check real quick? You know, that's a Wednesday problem.
I love the look on their
Oh,
faces
dear.
when you say stuff like that and they have no idea what they're investigating. Oh, so much fun.
Yeah.
And then you just look at all their rolls and go,
How did you mess that up? It's fine.
even if they didn't, you just go, and just don't tell them anything.
The
Anyway.
entire town is a mimic.
Tempting,
Giving it
yes.
all away. Thank you for joining us tonight, where you're one of the cats and not the cat herder. That is my job. And last but definitely not least, playing Sky Forest this evening, Lanny, thank you for joining us very much. And whereabouts are you in your authorships? I use the plural because you're doing multiple books at a time, as far as I understand it.
Well, my process is still, I am writing a book and publishing a different one.
Right.
So that's
That's
that's distinct in its own. But I mean, the one that's being published is due to end at the end of July. So that's
Nice.
almost just done. Otherwise, still working on the whole. Well, with everything just smoothly going into place, what
Yep.
do I want to do?
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us. And we will, with that, I think. Oh, I got some announcements, actually. I usually blow by me like it doesn't matter, because it doesn't. But tonight there are actually some announcements. First announcement is last week I said there was a big announcement coming. That big announcement has been moved back 1 week, so there's still a big announcement next week. But I also have some announcements this week. One of them is about this game. GMs, DMs, story keepers out there, learn from my mistake. I found a huge logic bomb in this story that I had written for these fine people. And after excising it, I think correctly, resisted the urge to fill it with filling to pad us out to where we would have been before. So because of that, we're going to keep the narrative flowing, but it means we're only going to be doing tonight and 2 more nights. Unless something changes, because something changed and we did this. If something changes the other way, we'll stretch it back out. This isn't TV. We are not booked for 13 seasons. But at this point, it looks like we've got tonight and 2 more nights, and we will be wrapping this particular away team series up. For good or ill. Mwahaha. Connected with that, we've got a new show coming up on Dirty 20 called Talk the Talk. That's going to be not this upcoming Friday, but a week from. And we're going to be alternating our Fun Shot Fridays and this essentially talk show. That first episode, we're going to start where every good campaign should. We're going to do a session 0 as our very first session in that show. It's going to be the people that are going to be coming into Cathedral Deep, my brutal dungeon crawl that they have volunteered to bring multiple characters to, so when I kill one off, it won't break the flow. And we're going to do the session 0 for that, but it's not the character sheet part. You know, there is a lot of ways out there. There's several different virtual tabletops. There's several different websites. There's all kinds of places you can go out there to get a really good idea to how to build the character sheet. This is going to be the rest of the session 0. Table etiquette, table rules, what is and is not acceptable at this table. Lines and veils, which if you don't know what that is, tune in and we'll show you. It is an amazing system that allows you to not go where your players would rather not go. Also the X card, which we've modified here at Dirty 20. Anybody that knows about it, it's physically a card with an X on it that you can just slide out onto the table at a live play game to go, no, I'm not comfortable at this scene, let's stop. Here, because I can't see cards, if anybody does this in any of these games, that scene stops immediately. And this is the important bit. No judgment, no questions. We just move on like it never happened. After the show, I apologize for doing it because I should have caught it in session 0, but that's how the X card works, and that's how we're going to teach that as well. Then we're going to build backstory.
You'll have to figure out how to do that with anyone doing emotes. But I know Ellie can slide pictures up, and I can just, like, figure
You
something more than
can
that.
you can PM me an X. You can send an X in chat. Just get an X to me somehow and draw my attention to it, and I will stop that scene. That's how that card works. But that's just one of the many things we're going to cover, and then we're going to build the backstories for these characters, such as they need to be for a pure dungeon crawl. And yes, you can get more information about that over at the Discord. Thank you for posting a link over there. That means that 1 week after that, on the Saturday, is when we'll be starting Cathedral Deep. That is the 28th, I believe. Saturday the 28th of June is going to be where they break the seal on the dungeon and head in. So, that's enough of that. Let's get to
It
this.
makes a psh sound.
Let's get to tonight's show. We ended the last episode underground, but only just. You'd experienced a number of experiences, a number of sentient and near sentient creatures. You were tested, you passed, and then you've moved on to the second apparent set of tests. At least that's what you were told. So the four of you find yourself just inside the door to this underground vault. As you look, as that door opens, needless to say, things are... It is not a normal hall which you see. It's like it's rifled, like it spins as it goes along. There's
I've seen this in Control.
four metal frames that do that, and they're connected by very thin metal rods.
Yeah, I know this scene in Control.
You can see just the tiny reflection of some glass type or plastic substance acting as windows. It just sticks out into what should be the underground darkness. But for all the world, it looks like it's in space. You see stars all around. It's going to be difficult to walk. You guys are all
It's
giving
like
me
a
credit
hypno
for a reference that I don't understand. So,
Of course.
so
Oh,
Well, to say the least, Vulcan.exe has stopped responding.
404 Vulcan not found.
On the other side of things, Sky is just having fun dancing forward. It's like, yeah, this is. She probably grabbed the glow stick that was sent first,
Yeah,
and because it's like, yeah, I'm in the lead anyways. I want to see
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
absolutely.
the one that was on the ground that I threw.
Yeah, she picked that up a while ago.
Yeah. So it's starting to dim slightly. Sky, you grab the glow stick and head into the. You kind of have to walk and then kind of step down and walk and then step down as you go along. Although you said you're dancing, so in fact, if that is the case, give me a fitness and.
I was using the word dancing as a.
Too late, man.
No, it's all good. Give me fitness and command. And that's not quite how command works, but never mind. This is command over yourself. It's the only thing I could see in that row. So,
Navigation.
Sure, because you were very bold when you asked. Yes, once you may have a focus in this. We'll pretend you studied dance as a child.
Hey, everyone's got an elective.
Yep.
Sulu's is fencing.
Apparently, we're never going to use the quantum
did I click the wrong
mechanics. So.
thing? Oh,
Quantum mechanics would kind of apply because we're now looking into things that are just weird
Yeah.
science.
Oh, can you guys? Can you cannot
yeah,
see your
there's no
characters,
visibility
right?
in anything.
I can't see
Oh.
them.
Oh,
I can't
because
see.
yeah, I understand
I can't
because
see
I did
her,
that.
supposed
To say
Um,
something.
Nope. Here, show one character. Put you over there. Show
Tyro's here.
one character.
Tyro.
Put you over there.
It's the Brady Bunch.
I hid you so you when we go to the next map, it doesn't mess up the view. But once we get there, I will fix it. So there. Now you are here. Now you may roll. So fitness and self-command to see how well you dance forward. One success. That works. Although it was quite a nice roll. To be fair, you rolled a 2. So yeah, you start to move very fluidly through this pattern of gridding and railings. Having moved ahead of the others, you're the first one to see it. Out of the darkness in the other end, this little ball, this big around, covered in spikes. Well, not covered, about half covered. You can see there's probably 200 spikes on the ball that size. And it's riding one of the rails, using the, as it comes around, it's rolling. And as it comes around, 2 of these spikes will come around and grab the rail and just, almost like a caterpillar or like legs on a millipede, and it's just coming down the rail. It sees you and it stops. Well, you assume that this is why it stops. Interrupt me at any time. It stops, shakes itself. And from the surface, hair just rises up and stands on end like it's been hit with an electric charge, and it hides all the spikes. And it looks for all the world like the softest little fur ball sitting on this metal pipe.
Okay, but the electric sparks are going to startle her, and then she will.
Oh no,
back
there
off.
was no. I use that strictly as a metaphor. There were no electric sparks. It just looked like static cling. Like it just into the hair just went pff, and puffed up.
Our story keeper can get it away with using dramatic tone, but players can't.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that I made myself clear. Please use creative tone all you wish. What you do?
Well, fortunately, you gave us a nice kit.
Yep.
So what would be really keen is pulling out the longest implement that's in the kit that is non-conductive and
Yep.
poke the thing.
Okay. So you pull out an
Heat sticks,
extendable something. I don't know,
Stick.
hot dog stick. Yeah, it's designed to cook food on over an open fire. And you step forward. Just as you start to move forward, the rest of you are as well. I mean, you're behind. You can see this. You're a distance behind because Sky specifically took the lead. But you can see what's kind of from behind. You can see this thing roll out and Sky stop, pull out a stick. As you step forward and start to reach forward, out of that same darkness, you hear clattering.
I also expect she probably whipped it out because she's doing it one-handed, unlike your
yeah,
motion.
yeah. You look up. 6 legs with claws on the end reach out and grab these junction points on these windows. And it's coming down one of these main bars. You quickly look, it's the one that this little fuzzy and you are on.
And this is way bigger.
This is large and moving forward aggressively. You see its head come around and lock on the fuzzy,
Is
look at
this
you,
space?
look at the other 3, and just decide that you can tell just from looking, just decide you don't exist. Back to the fuzzy and clearly hunting. The rest of you see it
yeah.
come out of the darkness as well. Sky, you're the closest. What do you do?
Freeze and hope that it doesn't notice me.
Okay. The other 3?
Pete's going to play some baseball with some electrical equipment that no longer works.
Yep.
And he's going to try and, well, he's just going to try and hit that big hoser in the back.
Okay.
Oh, there. Accent. There we go.
So you're going to attack Gyro. What is the first officer going to do in this situation?
Because I want to protect the little guy is what I'm thinking.
Yep.
I am watching and observing,
Okay.
mostly because, like, every time Gyro has made a comment about a creature, they've immediately been proven wrong in the most hilarious of ways. So right now, they're gonna remain silent and observe this giant creature and this. I don't remember what those little fuzzballs were called in Star Trek, but they multiply
Oh,
like
no, these aren't
monsters.
tribbles. No, this is
It's not-
definitely not a
Okay.
tribble.
But they're
It is,
making
it is
the,
definitely a nod to a tribble, but this is a tribble's badass little brother.
they're making the comparison, and they just
Mhm.
want to see what happens. So they're just watching.
Absolutely. Solan,
So
what's your
in the
response
interest
to this?
of not sure about the situation, but also an escape route's definitely a thing that he's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You almost would notice him tapping his foot, trying to figure out how thick this glass is.
Yep. Okay.
How,
Thank
how
you.
difficult would it possibly be to break it? Is what he's trying to figure out. if need be.
Absolutely. Okay. Excellent. I'm going to do this in reverse order because I want to start with Solan because it's. I mean, you're standing on the metal bars and you just sort of reach down and put your foot on this stuff. It gives. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it doesn't seem solid.
You kind of push again with your foot. It and it feels like it's getting near the end of its like flexibility. Something's going to happen if you push much harder. You also start to feel cold coming through the sole of them. And these are all weather boots. And there is a cold. You recognize that cold. That is the cold of space on the other side of this.
Is no an appropriate response?
No is always an appropriate response. It might not get you anywhere, but it is always an appropriate response.
Well, with that, that tells me a few things, but I'll kind of figure out exactly what that means as
you
figuring out
crouch
what
down
happens
behind
to
the
other
others
people.
and start sort of fartsing with the floor of this, the very structure that you're standing in. We will cut back to, I said I was going to do it in reverse. So Gyro, you continue to watch and sort of see what's going on. Pete, you're going after the monster. And just to be clear, Sky, what was, you froze, right? Or did you want to do
I
another
kind
action?
of froze, but
Yeah.
if someone's going to be aggressive behind me,
Yeah.
then safest angle is that way. So that's the
Well,
best
Perfect. In
angle.
that case, we'll let Mike go first, or we'll let sorry.
Bison.
I don't do that very often. No, even that.
No.
It's your character. It's
You
Pete.
didn't- Yeah.
We'll let Pete go first, and then when the attack happens, you'll see him attacking, and then your response will make sense. So,
So Pete, before he actually like hits this thing, we're gonna say it's a dynamo.
okay,
So
yeah.
it's nice and heavy.
Yes.
Way
Oh,
heavier
yeah.
than it looks.
Got some mass, yeah.
Yeah, definite mass to it. He's gonna be, hey rabbit, duck.
So, we're going to treat this as like a mini combat. So you have a free action and an action, essentially, or minor action and an attack. Pardon me, we'll use the correct phrasing here. It is a game system after all. One of the things you can use as a minor action is to aim, which allows you to re-roll one of the d20s.
I will do that, and I'll take a stress to allow me to roll an extra.
An extra die. Excellent. So you all attacks require 2 successes. So go ahead. And what were you going to roll for that?
I was thinking fitness and
security?
if I have to, it's 1.
That's usually
Just a
what
question,
I
if
just
we're
say that
using-
because that's usually what melee or range attacks use.
Yeah.
Unless you can convince me something else. Convince me that you don't use your military training or your physical training to do it.
If we're using the dial with the different stuff visually,
Oh.
can we see that? We're still on the primary system terminal screen.
I have not shown you that
Yeah,
that
he hasn't
tube.
changed
No,
it yet.
I went to do it, and apparently I didn't put that map in here. So oops. It's okay because I made it much worse than it actually is by adding the squishy material at the side. So that's all good. A convenient mistake.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with security.
Okay, security and fitness as you hurl this heavy object in the general direction.
And then stress for an extra die.
Yep. So
And
3.
Momentum is an extra die as well. That's how it worked.
Yes, you can burn momentum to get an extra die. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
I'll
have
do that as well.
You guys have
I'll-
6. You are maxed out. So 4 dice then you're rolling against fitness and
Oh Jesus Christ!
wow. 2
18,
18s, 3 18s,
What the heck?
4
4 18s?
18s. Hang on.
Wow.
Roll
That's
3. Roll that
amazing.
again because I want to see if this is broken.
There
Nope,
we
never
go.
mind.
How did that roll?
A 1 and a 6. Yeah, never mind
And
because
then
an 11
and 17.
and a 17. So,
That
wow.
was friggin' crazy.
Okay.
Can I
I
take the
wasn't.
1 and the 6?
I'll give-
I don't
I'll
want to be
give
the
you
one
the
to
one-
say
I'll
it,
give-
but
yes.
the statistics there.
So here's what happens. We're going to smoosh all that together. You hurl the heavy object at the.
No, I strike it with a bat with one of my wrenches.
Oh, you're actually
With a bat.
moving up to it and thumping it. Okay, so you move forward and swing at it. I'm going to cut away and then cut back. Sky, you see this. You see Pete step past you with this big piece of scientific
No,
equipment.
baseball bat. Baseball.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
is why
I'm still all the way back, so I'm swinging a giant wrench at a dynamo.
Yeah.
Okay.
At a dynamo. It's a bad thing, right? Yeah.
The dynamo is the baseball. He's swinging the wrench like a bat, sending
Oh,
it flying.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all
Okay.
like, rabbit, duck.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. So what you see fly
been a
past
day.
you
It's
is
been a
just a
day.
small heavy object. Fly past you, Sky, and heading directly towards the thing which looks like it wants to feed on the small fuzzy. You have a split second.
Yeah, I said, whichever angle has no strange things.
So you're just backing up again.
I
This-
expect, Priscina, there's the big thing in the front,
Yep.
there's the spiky thing to maybe the left,
down to your left. Yeah.
and so then there's nothing to
And
the
then-
right.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah,
right is a great idea.
absolutely. You sort of leap across to the other side. That dynamo whistles towards the target. It hits it. It and the small fuzzy just disappear. Not even like they're pop, they just disappear. The dynamo pings off one of the metal arms and goes further down the tube where you can't see it. And you hear and you can feel the wind starting behind you drawing forward. Somewhere way down this tunnel, you just broke it.
Ah,
This is like one of those scenes where a bunch of kids are playing baseball in the street and they hear a distant glass shatter and they all look at each other and bolt.
Yeah, even if it wasn't us, we gotta go. yeah. Yep. But this
Gyro
time
is just
it
slowly
was you.
looking at,
Yeah.
just slowly looking at Pete.
yeah, I think Gyro won't be alone in that
The
one.
planet. Gyro's response, or Pete's response to Gyro, was just like, the computer told us to take care of the creatures. That little guy was gonna get attacked. I thought I was doing the right thing. I didn't know it wasn't supposed to be there.
You, as you sort of gesture to where this all happened, the little creature runs out of the darkness down the rail, covered in spikes, stops, appears to see you, freezes, and puffs up.
It's a loop.
A few seconds later, coming out of the darkness, the creature, exactly the same, approaching exactly the same.
Gyro
Sky,
is
you're
going
still
to-
closest. What do you do? And then Gyro, you're next. Yeah.
Since I have like a pokey thing still handy
Yeah.
and the only hand that works,
Absolutely.
can I poke the leg and see if there's any resistance or if this is holographic?
You want to poke the fuzzy?
No, well, it's it sounds like there's something closer.
No, this is the scene is literally replaying. So
Yeah.
where it rolled up on you before and you were just about to poke it, it has rolled up to exactly the same spot, puffed up
Okay.
exactly the same way. So it's right there. You could very easily.
Okay,
yeah.
we poke this.
Okay. Give me. Actually, don't give me
You
anything.
poke this?
You poke it.
That's my line.
I mean, it's
I-
right there in front of you. It's not moving. You poke it with the stick, and the second the stick touches it, it disappears.
Holographic.
It's
A couple
more than
seconds
holographic.
later, it comes
Holographic
running
is
down the pipe again.
photon interference.
Behind it, tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, this is
The
when
tableau
she
repeats
gets-
again.
This is when she gets bored, and it's like going down the hall because there's something doing this, and it's more curious to see what's then further down the, especially what the heck did Pete hit?
Okay. Gyro.
For
Yeah.
Gyro's curiosity, they're gonna linger and see how the scene plays out.
Okay. Pete.
Pete's confused when everything repeated the first time. It was just a quick takeoff,
Mhm.
and then when Sky poked it the second time and it repeated, he's like, "Take off."
Yeah. And to be clear, both parts disappeared and then the loop started again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now he's just like, he knows it's not. He knows it's not a holograph, because holograph there would be photonic interference. There would be some wibbling. That's his technical term.
It's a technical term, yeah.
Yeah, there'd be some wibbling before it reset.
Yeah.
This is completely different.
If it's tech, it's progenitor tech. You've seen enough of it
Yeah.
now. It's at
And
that
then that's
level.
why she's comfortable. It's like, oh, it's doing a techie thingy that I don't get. Well, that's normal. Whatever
Shallan.
next.
I love it when my characters are doing this, because then they're really thinking. You can see the smoke. I love it. What does Shallan? How does Shallan respond to this?
So this is repeated. This is the third time it's repeated.
Yep. And I've kind of
Pete threw
frozen time
something
here because
At
it's
the very least,
Yeah.
at the very least, I know that there is something that seems to at least emulate the cold of space, even if it isn't exactly, because we do have gravity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yes, with that conclusion, is the gravity the same as on planet?
Oh, he's testing the extent of logic.
Yep. So you start paying attention to that. Give me reason and science. I mean,
even-
yeah. And then go ahead and say what you were going to say.
I mean, the other thing, it could also be he's noticing this as Pete goes to hit the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know how many things he's necessarily seen Pete hit, but if you can kind of get an idea of how far and how fast the thing's going, when should it hit the ground versus when it does. So it could be when he kind of does this question.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Give
he
me
starts
some-
Some-
playing physics.
Yeah,
You don't know
exactly.
the
We're
thing's
just going to
mass,
leave
though.
this. It's not technically how the game works, but we're going to do this as an open-ended rule. The more successes you generate, the more you'll figure out. So you start with the 2 dice. Oh, never mind. I was just going to, did you going to roll any extra dice? I should have asked you before you rolled. I mean, you got 2 successes. We'll just do this and
How much
pretend
do
that
you
never
want?
happened. Would you like to roll some extra dice before you roll 2 successes?
No, what I
Well-
was also going to add is mass doesn't matter as much as air resistance.
Do you have anything of a talent or focus for any of this kind of stuff? I know I have quantum mechanics.
Nothing that would necessarily apply. The closest would be vigilance, but that really doesn't apply to the situation.
Not really.
Astrophysics. Literally.
Yeah, kind
Physics is my
sort of, yeah.
wheelhouse.
I'll give, you know what? Yes. This
If
is.
Pete wants to help,
Yeah.
because Pete's
Understanding
definitely
how-
hit things before.
Yeah, I'm good at hitting things.
We'll give you.
It-
I'll just give you some extra information. How's that? Down is down. As weird as that sounds, I know that sounds like that's
So we've been
obvious,
walking in,
but it
Sky had it.
doesn't change. You're right. If this was truly hanging in space, there would be no down. So there's either artificial gravity, or sorry. There's either artificial gravity keeping this down, or things are not what they seem. You can
so it's
feel.
not orient.
Yeah. It doesn't
So-
it doesn't do this. Gravity doesn't
Okay,
twist. It
that was
stays flat.
actually
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
guess, because
Yeah.
that's a Q thing.
Yeah.
That's something he would do.
Oh, you're getting ahead of yourself. You don't know the
I
name
am
of this,
totally
this
getting ahead of
episode.
myself. I'm metagaming, I'm sorry.
Also, you want to get really weird. It's not them that did this. This is still progenitors. Yes, so down is down. There is whatever this tube is, it is some form of tech that you don't understand, but it might be the same stuff that's making this image happening over and over in front of you. It's all of a piece. Having said that, the wind that is starting to build in this tunnel from behind you, coming from an impossible source, there is no back there. You just came from back there. There's nothing back there. But there is a draft coming past you and drawing down that corridor more and more. And as you start paying attention, your brain starts doing the math, and you kind of thumb this material again. And if you're right, more and more panes are popping farther down in the distance of this tunnel. It's going to become uninhabitable. Well, it's going to become extremely windy first, and then whatever oxygen source is behind you, if it runs out, it's going to get real hard to breathe in here in a hurry.
I mean, if anybody's sticking around, someone will probably say, we either need to leave or move very quickly because we're not going to be able, breathing is important and we may not be able to in a few minutes.
Okay.
Sky, you hear this as you're stepping forward, and you see, as you step into the darkness with your glow stick, you see
By
confirmation.
You, I'm expecting me.
Sorry?
By you, I expect you mean me, because you
Yes.
didn't say who you were talking to.
No, I thought I said Sky at the start of it, but yes, your Sky is as you step forward into the darkness with your glow stick, you see confirmation. Well, Lo Solan didn't say anything, but you see at the same time that there's some of these. It's like ripped plastic, it just going as the air in this tube runs out ahead of you, and you can feel it now as well. This drawing of air past you.
Ah.
Pete, there's a little bit of drool running down the side of your mouth as you try and process.
Well, okay, who's seen the first of the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies? I'm seeing
Me.
Chekhov. I can do this. I can do this.
I can do that. I can do that. Yeah, that was the best part.
Gyro.
I'm trying to figure out why they built a giant vacuum tube.
For their
Gyro.
giant amplifier, dude.
You watch. The small fuzzy runs out, locks on, the fur comes out, the creature comes out, tung, 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 looks, attacks the creature, the small fuzzy. As it hits it, they both disappear. So does the tube, so does the sucking sound, and so does the rushing air. You find yourself in a completely different environment.
Oh. Yeah, that'll be startling. Especially because she's not watching.
All four of you find yourself in the same orientation. So, Sky, you're still out in front. The other three are slightly back. You're on a plain, knee-high grass. Clearly still on this planet. Everything feels the same. The sun is the same color. The grass is the same. You're in one of these areas between the biomes. And ahead of you, a small child runs out from behind a tent, terrified, running, runs right towards the four of you. Sky, you're the closest again.
Yep.
Behind it, the same creature, but scaled up into the dirt, looks over at you, and you can see the spittle and poison dripping off of its chin. It looks at you and then leaps for the child.
Heh. Nice.
Sky, you're closest.
Yeah,
Slightly to the right of where you were before, but still closest.
yeah. There is two potential things that will draw on her head here. This
Mhm.
is either A, yet another hologram, and that means if she makes contact with the child, it'll all go away. Or two, this is actually an innocent life in danger, and she has a job to do.
Yep. So, with that
So-
much time to think,
That she fortunately has hands that are quite set for this kind of thing.
Well,
She's
one.
going to move forward. In the process, she will unlink her injured arm,
okay?
and then she will swing towards the child while grasping. The swinging motion will have the arm flay forward,
Yep.
which would then at that point offer pretty much if anything's going to get in the way, it's going to attack the one part of her that's probably the most expendable. And then meanwhile, she's going to try and take the child in the one arm and make for whatever is backwards, because this is the wrong
Yep.
place to be. You know, the same, like, it's time to flee that she's always had?
Yep. You leap forward, literally throw your arm around. The second it touches the child and the creature disappear.
Okay.
The scene resets. before you can react, I got to give the others a chance to have a go here. The same child runs out from behind the same tent, chased by the same creature. Solan.
I mean, I'm the most curious about this poison.
Mm-hmm. Out of all of this, you wanted How Vulcan is that? That's an unknown substance. I should study that. Yeah.
I mean, the medical officer seeing the effects of poison on a human body.
Yeah. I didn't even thought of that. I should have let that bite someone and see what it does. For science.
Prime Directive, what?
No.
Oh,
I've
Vulcans
just
are fun.
proven that
They
he
really
doesn't need to
play.
worry about that now.
I
This
don't
is
know
now
that.
like
We're still-
a recorded
we're still
simulation.
reacting.
He could watch.
Well, you
Guys,
guys saw
guys,
this.
we're
You
still
saw
reacting.
this. You see that this is the second iteration.
I mean, it's funny. Like me is like, okay, he's a doctor. He's gonna want to save the person. I'm like, he doesn't have that like jump. He's like, okay, well, medically, what does this do?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah. You can.
How dangerous
You can
is
watch.
this?
Yeah. Absolutely. That is a legitimate response. Gather more
I mean,
information.
actually, what he's gonna,
Yeah.
he's more trying to figure out how would it be possible for him to actually get any amount of this poison, like a vial or something. Is what he's trying to figure out.
Okay. The answer is real simple.
I
Kill
mean,
it.
saving the person is
Kill it.
not
Yeah.
required.
The easiest way to get it would be to kill it, for sure. As you process that, guys, damn it! I just can't get you. You'd even changed it in Zoom.
I
Pete.
even changed it.
It's too normal. It's too normal a name. I keep thinking that can't be the character name. It's Pete. I mean, Pete.
All right.
You've seen
well,
this once. What do you
Pete's-
do?
By now, Pete's figured out that this is definitely a test.
Yes.
He's trying to figure out what kind of test. And he's, after watching it happen the first time,
Yep.
seeing it reset, he's now looking at everything else.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking at, what's inside the tent, what's around the tent,
Okay.
he starts taking his focus off of the monster.
Right. So you're just
Starts
going to
looking at
let
what's
it keep
around.
replaying itself out?
Yeah, he's looking at
Okay.
everything else now. He's at this point he's looking for cameras.
Absolutely. I'll give you this real quick. You look inside, you sort of step up and look inside the tent. Inside the tent isn't there. It's like going into a place in a video game that you weren't
They
supposed to
forgot
get. You're
your
behind the
equipment.
walls.
Yeah.
It's not programmed in here. There's nothing inside this tent. It isn't
See
even
the
textured.
skybox on the
It's
inside.
it's basically just like a what we would call a wireframe. It's at that
I see
level
texture.
of render. It's just something to hang the texture on the outside of.
Yeah. Pete's gonna take one of his least favorite wrenches.
Yep.
And
Ferdinand.
like for sure. And sort of peek in or like poke in inside the tent and try to poke one of the wireframes just to see what happens.
As your wrench passes that plane, it just ceases to be. You pull it back, it's fixed. Like it's there, but it's like that space won't allow anything in.
Mhm. That's really weird. Okay.
Gyro. Child is being attacked by a monster, and your crew is going, I'm trying to gather some poison. There's nothing inside this tent, and fuck this.
I mean,
Hey, we didn't properly express what I'm doing.
I was paraphrasing.
Gyro doesn't like the idea of letting the scene continue, but like the previous one, when the scene was allowed to continue its course, things fixed itself.
Yep.
They don't like that they might have to do that again because this is a child.
leap.
Jaro's going to hmm. They're not gonna watch, but they're gonna let it play out.
Turn away.
Guy, meanwhile, I should
Yeah,
mention because
Sky,
you know,
yes, please.
there's a lot
That's
of
where
like,
we're coming around.
what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, what's Sky doing?
I would totally expect that since she put a lot of momentum into what she's doing, she's on the ground,
Yeah,
and
okay.
so then she not only has to dust herself off, but she has to kind of readjust her arm.
Sure.
And considering how fast it seems like everything's happening, there is nothing
This monster's
else
gonna
she'll
jump
be able
right
to
on
do
her.
in the meanwhile.
Yep.
This monster's gonna land on her because she's in the same spot.
Well,
Gyro,
no,
you
I
turn
kind of
away.
threw
Yeah.
the kid. I was doing motions to drag the kid away, so
Yeah,
I
you
would have been
skidded.
a
Yeah, so you're
distance
just away,
away
so yeah.
from the kid.
So you are out of the way. The only one clearly looking at this because Gyro, you turn away, like just don't want to see this. Solan, as you're going, I wonder how I could. The creature hits the child. They disappear. And it starts again.
Oh, that was the creature's first mistake.
You get first response this time. What do you do?
Well, seeing how it strikes its prey,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming it follows fairly standard biology.
Yep. Other than it's
I mean,
kind of lizard-mounted shoulders. It's a flat mount, and then it's got these sort of clawed legs. Yeah. But yes.
I mean, I know where the legs are gonna go,
yes.
assuming that it follows the same track each time.
It's literally footprint for
So, I mean,
footprint.
realistically, you wouldn't think it'd be that difficult to, try to break a rib and, possibly stop its heart. That would be
Absolutely.
not out of the question, you would think.
Yep.
Said so casually.
Yep. Logically. This isn't an anger. This is
Now-
for science.
You know,
Come here, you fucker.
so do you want like a reason medicine as kind of the where he's thinking it? How to
I don't
approach
need
it, or
I don't need
something
any of
more
that.
security oriented.
I don't need any of that. You leap forward with your attack. Actually, yeah, you're right. Give me a fitness and security as you try to physically attack this thing. Get at least one success. That's all I really need.
Security.
I just need you to make contact. Fitness and
falling
security.
face.
So,
So don't roll eight.
I also
18s
do
again.
have a focus of defensive tactics.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yep. Sure. We'll turn that into, their defenses, and
So we're gonna
therefore
do
you
that
can
with
turn that to your
focus.
advantage. Sure. Yep. Give it
Sun
with
Tzu, that
focus.
shit. Sun Tzu was part Vulcan, I'm sure.
There you go. 2 6.
That's actually with focus. That's 4 successes. You step forward and strike.
Please.
The certain schools of monk would have been very, very proud of you for the lack of emotion you displayed. You applied logic. It's moving. You're moving. You did the trig. You got there at the right moment, at the right spot. You clipped exactly where you think the leg joint is. You drive the leg back into the carcass, or at least you would, except it disappears at the second you hit it. And so does the scene. You're not on the plane anymore. You're in one of these biomes, obviously. It's dark and green and loamy and fecund and all those words. There's just life is just oozing out of every pore in this space around you. And just above you, on a huge stump, a shattered stump that must be 20 meters across, is a massive nest. And you hear above you, and the head whips around, and it looks for all the world like a T-Rex with most of the skin peeled back. It's just teeth and eyes, huge hunting eyes, clearly much smarter than any dinosaur you'd ever heard of. Clawed
Yeah,
hands
I've
come
heard of
up
a
on the
dinosaur.
edge. And it screams down at you. Who wants to go first this time?
Well, I know Sky is getting bored because, and she might even say it. She be in her typical
That's
quiet
what she
voice.
did.
It's like, clearly somebody really likes the giant monster theme. Because
Yep.
it's like this is
It's wearing
getting
thin.
repetitive.
Yep, absolutely. Gyro, what do you do?
Out of character. Yeah, giant monsters.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you would love that reference, Whitney.
Anja, what?
Now, Gyro is kind of doing what Pete did in the last scene. They're
Okay.
looking around, but they're not looking for like cameras or anything. They're looking around for like, okay, the previous two had a trigger of sorts. The first one was the little fuzzy, the other one was the little kid.
Yep.
What is the trigger here?
Us.
What is the problem here?
Thank you, Roosbar, for the sub. Gyro, give me. Would you say you're using insight or reason?
I'd say insight.
Insight. So insight in science? Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, give me that. Any extra dice? Oh, and thank you for doing the math for me. 65 feet, 20 meters. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
so what was your specialties or anything that you can apply?
Would survival apply to this?
Absolutely. Very much so. Yes, absolutely. Give me a focus for sure.
All right.
And again, that is 4 successes. You look up through the nest and you see behind this hideous creature a clutch of eggs. As you look, one of them starts to... But it's a lizard egg, so it's not cracking, it's just stretching. And then this little egg tooth comes out.
Okay, then what's making this thing angry? They're looking around the rest of the place.
It's you. You're right next to their nest at the moment these eggs are being hatching. You're the threat. It's not attacking you. It's defending its eggs.
You know that gif that people love where Homer is like merging with the hedge?
Just back into the
Gyro's
hedge,
just gonna
yeah?
step back into the foliage till they disappear.
Absolutely.
Oh. Yeah.
Do
by
you
the way,
say anything as you disappear?
I'm just gonna go, we're the trigger.
Start backing away.
well,
Sky?
I generally expect you can even look to be making the same motion. As soon as you start to imitate Sky's general line of thought, you'd be like, "All right,
We're
don't
out of
take
here.
a step forward, take many
Yeah.
back."
Yeah. Pete and Solan. You see now.
I had the same kind of idea
Mhm.
that we were the threat this time.
Yeah.
And in order to break the cycle, we need to not attack.
You start to back away. Solan?
I
There's
even,
no poison evident.
I even put the wrench down.
There is, however, an unknown species here in front of you.
Yeah, there is an unknown species, but this doesn't seem like the least costly time to try to study. Although, kind of the question is, what other environmental? You said that the thing had how many eyes and how large?
This is it's biorbital. It has 2 eyes. It's essentially like a T-Rex. I described it, I think, as a T-Rex with most of its facial skin peeled off. Like it's that sort of scale. 15 meters from end to end, 50 feet.
Fairly large, has a nest, well,
Yeah.
quite some distance in the air. I mean, we're on the ground. It's up in the
It's
up on this
like,
plateau type.
sort of 10 or 15 feet up, sort of 5 meters up. Yeah. That's right, because it's in a busted stump, this huge broken stump.
I'm gonna hold because as much as we think we might be the threat, I don't think so.
Okay. The three of you back away. Solan, this creature's head comes around and looks down at you and just stays where it is. It's not getting any closer, but it is hissing and screeching and waving its wings at you. It's clearly trying to chase you away.
Our logical officer is like, yeah, not gonna get afraid.
Yeah.
I'm here for
Oh yeah,
science
I'm not worried
reasons."
about the fear. I just want to know how you react.
Okay, so he's going to back away but not drop eye contact.
Absolutely. The first step back, it all disappears again. The four of you find yourself in another location. This one is completely different because this one is inside a sort of milky white dome. You can see it at about 10 meters in every direction. This is a sealed room, a hemisphere. And right in the very center of it is a rock, quite large, 3 meters long by 1.5 meters wide, 10 feet by about 5 feet, sitting in fine white sand. And as you appear, the rock starts to vibrate. And the sand starts to move in little waves.
I pull out Blocky
Okay? Yeah.
because since we're obviously in progenitor territory, we've got a.
Bison, your microphone's faded.
Might be just because I'm not talking loud enough.
he's thinking too loud to talk at full volume.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I pull out Blocky because we know that Blocky's progenitor tech,
Mhm.
and as a general rule, like attracts like.
Yep.
And I'm kind of just honestly, I'm experimenting at this point because I'm kind of curious to see if there's any reaction between the slab and the block.
Absolutely. You pull out Blocky. The other three?
Well, it's just a rock
I
that's
thought you
kinda-
froze.
yeah.
Yes.
I love doing this to
there is
parties.
a lot of the
This is my
hole.
payday.
It's just a rock that's vibrating right now, and
Yep.
so far everything is just like a whole bunch of skits that are panning out.
Mhm.
A rock that's vibrating isn't much to go by. So it's so what else is going on? That's
Hey,
where we're at.
Dead Aussie Gamer, I've got them on the ropes. You showed up at just the right time.
Gyro is sitting there cycling in their head how to properly say the name and failing every time because I'm
Yeah,
never going to
progenitors, yeah. I'll say it for you. It's all good. And as you watch, a form in the sand appears in front of the vibrating rock. Clearly, it's vibrating the sand to make this image. And you watch as a sunrise drifts up. Like if you look down at the picture, down at the rock in the sand as though it was a picture from above, you watch the sun rise from behind the rock towards you.
Mostly Sky's waiting for the big creature because that seems to be the pattern here.
Mhm.
This is totally.
So you're waiting. Pete? Solan?
Um,
Gyro?
So Lon's processing information. I don't know why
Mhm.
he's trying to process it. What he's trying to figure out is time of day. If he can figure out if it was one of those, if the scenes were actually on the planet or if they were simulated,
As
or
you
if they were
start
at
to
some point on there.
as you start to focus on that, the vibration of the rock changes. And while the sunrise stays there, a caduceus forms in the sand pointed directly at you. The snake's on the post, for anybody who doesn't know, the universal symbol for doctor.
Ah, nice.
It
Pete's
probably
like, "I think
takes
it's
him
for
a
you,
bit
Doc."
before he notices that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So while you're processing that, the other two, so far, I think, yeah, well, we'll do the other three. Gyro, how do you respond?
I have somebody vacuuming over my head, so I
It's
can't
all
really
good,
respond
yeah.
very well right now.
It's not that
Um,
bad.
Zoom is
I get
doing
the
its thing and reducing the noise, so it's all good.
You said it was sunrise or sunset behind them.
You watched the sun come up. It was clearly a sunrise.
We got Sky looking for whatever creature might show up.
Hmm.
I haven't done anything yet.
Yep. Gyro
We got
and Pete.
Blocky.
Yeah. Oh, you got Blocky out. It doesn't seem
Yeah,
to
Pete has
have done
Blocky.
anything. Yeah.
And the universal symbol for Doctor has shown up.
And is pointed directly at your doctor.
I'm gonna walk with Pete towards this slab.
As you
Yeah,
do.
because
Yeah.
that is pretty much what I was going to do. Pull out Blocky and just sort of.
That was
start-
the two of you step
I'm going with you,
forward.
just in
Yeah.
case.
As the two of you step forward, as you start to pay attention to this rock in front of you, the vibrations change again. And in front of Gyro, a picture of the Astral, the ship that you're in command of, the ship that you haven't seen in 4 days, vibrates into the sand, pointed directly at you. Pete, the wrench that you left behind, physically, not a sand representation, that wrench up through the sand onto the surface and then moves towards you and stops at your feet.
Okay, that's enough to get Sky's curiosity.
Yeah. Sky, you
Yeah.
look around, there's no creature around.
Well, there's nothing going on there, but the rock is giving people stuff.
Yep.
And
As you
it's
look at
like-
the rock, a star map forms. Another vibration. A star map of your home system. Pointed
That's a long
directly
way.
at you. The rising sun disappears and is replaced with a word.
with a what?
A word.
Oh,
Yeah,
Welcome.
oh,
What?
yeah.
Well then.
Do you do?
Considering Sky hardly knows her own star map, but
Mhm.
probably knows it enough to at
As
least
a
be able to recognize it.
officer, well, as
It's
a
like-
con officer, you would recognize it, right?
Yeah, but I
a
mean,
navigational
it's
point
not
of view.
like it's not like that's even in Federation maps.
Nope.
So there's nobody here that would
Nope.
have records of that
It came
stuff.
out of you. All of this information, you realize, each of you, it came from you.
So that's a little unnerving.
Hard for the course at this time, bud.
Do you take the wrench, Pete?
He does, and as he bends down to pick it up, he sort of looks at the rock and he's like, "Thanks, bud," and he puts it back into the proper
You
spot.
pick the wrench up. You look at the rock. Thanks, bud. And it all disappears. This time, I'm looking. You've been drawing all over my screen, you bastards.
It's Blocky.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. No, that makes so much more sense. Oh, that was funny. All right. Just for a moment here, I'm going to make you guys disappear so you're off the screen. But this time you find yourselves in a similar room. You've been here before. It's the room with the monitor. And that monitor is still there. But this time, there's also... Oops, hang on a second. I might just make these last two go away.
One more.
There we go. This time, not only an archaic monitor sits in front of you, but an archaic microphone as well. The engineers and science persons amongst you might notice it's not actually plugged into anything, but neither is the monitor, so it doesn't really matter. And after what you've
Yeah,
experienced in the last hour, you're probably wondering if any of this is real at this point. And as you look at the monitor, that pops up. The little button on the microphone lights up. Boom.
Oh no. Oh no. Is this kind of puzzle?
17 spaces?
Don't worry about the number of spaces. No, that's just a
Okay.
blank. That's just because I
Okay.
can't make a continuous line using this font.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't. No, it's not that hard. We're not playing we're not playing Hangman.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Just finish the sentence. When neither participant is sentient, what do you do?
Oh, he might be calling back to the Prime Directive. Shit.
It might also be relating to the barrier because the word sentient is there.
When neither participant is sentient, what does the Prime Directive dictate? We're not supposed to interfere.
As you say that out loud,
I can't.
you didn't do it in the accent, but I'm giving it to you.
What did Pete say?
When
No.
neither
To interfere.
participant is sentient, according to the Prime Directive, we're not supposed to interfere.
Second sentence. When one participant is sentient, waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop.
It's
I
totally
keep
the
getting
Prime
distracted
Directive.
with Salan giggling over there.
That's not me.
Smi-
That's my background. Sorry about
Just smiling and giggling. It's like, okay.
that. It's more of a Pete is going on about this Prime Directive, but as a player, I have no idea.
I know.
But it sounds like more like what the Federation
It is
fought,
it's the Federation's rules of conduct.
Yeah.
When dealing with alien civilizations.
Having said that, I will give you a tiny, tiny hint. I told all of you that there would be no Star Trek lore in this game that you had to know. So as a tiny hint, you got the first one right for the wrong reasons.
I do that all the time. I did that
Yes,
with the last
yeah.
puzzle.
Yeah, Pete strikes again. I don't know whether that helps or hinders you to answer the second one.
Word
When-
puzzles are my weakness, dude. I
Well,
Don't
I
think of
would
this as
think
a word
that
puzzle. Don't think of this as a word puzzle.
Technically,
Just when
it's
one
based off of, I
participant
would
is
think, what we did
sentient.
before.
Well, the Prime Directive is based on universal morality.
Salan, what did you
Right.
say?
But what we just did, when neither participant would be necessarily considered sentient, doing nothing solved the puzzle. When one participant is sentient, when, for example, the child being chased by the
Monster,
the
we save the
perceived
monster.
animal attempting to kill it,
Deal with the
you
threat.
preserve sentience.
Sentence
away.
changes.
Sky just even it says right away, you back away.
The sentence remains.
When confronted, do not initiate aggression. No?
The sentence flickers but stays.
Might be
Your
something-
hint. Gyro knows the answer to this. Put yourself back in the situation. Solan was absolutely right when he said this is based on what you just went through.
Yeah.
So when confronted, backing away was how you solved the problem. But what
Not
did you
showing
do
hostility, though.
when you were confronted? Gyro specifically.
I want to say don't be perceived as a threat.
Again, it shimmers. You're so close. You saw it wasn't a threat. Then what did you do? Anybody can answer. I'm just asking Gyro because they were the ones that did the thing.
You disappeared. Put up your hands and disappeared. Surrendered. No? Pulse.
I can't English good, man.
What action did you take specifically? Just tell, like I could see
I
Gyro
hid.
going back in their mind. Before that, and instead of going, ah shit, you went. What did you do?
I
Because of what you said there.
looked for the problem.
Yeah,
I looked-
went in front of
Bam.
the problem.
Exactly. Find out why.
yeah.
Sentience is defined by.
The fourth sentence. Sentience is defined by what?
Recognition?
Yeah, the ability to take initiative on the problem.
I solved it by thanking. At least I think that's what I did. Yeah. By giving thanks. No? Sentience is defined by.
Awareness mostly.
Yeah.
No,
Awareness
notice
is-
what happened in the fourth one, especially where Sky took so long. She was off worrying about other things, but everyone kind of approached the rock at the end there.
The rock did something to everyone. What did Pete do that was different with the information that he got?
You accepted the hammer and you gave thanks. You're also curious.
When you say gave thanks, it flickers again. You see the images again in your head. The sun coming up. You're this, you're that, you're this,
Self-awareness.
shimmers again.
Oh,
The
so far
word
close.
comes up. Welcome.
Community? No, that's just human nature.
It starts to disappear until you get to the last three letters and then it comes back.
What did he say?
He said community.
Unity.
Communication.
Communication. Something like that, yeah.
The fourth sentence disappears and none replace it. The room itself stays the same. And it's like the whole thing is a speaker, a voice clearly created, rings out. The challenge with wielding great power is knowing when and how to use it. The challenges you have faced here are these. Hang on, I can't read my own writing. Are the spatio-temporal tip of the iceberg. You have each been tested on many levels, and you have each excelled at those tests. By doing so, you have earned your Federation and all of its member states the honor and the responsibility for this doomsday vault of sentience. These races all come from times and places where they were destroyed by natural circumstances, wars, disease, and through no fault of their own. We went to those times and places, and we took some of them and the environments that supported them, and we brought them here. We allowed them to develop, and we waited for you. Our future history told us you would come, and it told us much about, but not all about you. Therefore, there is one more test you must pass. Follow the source of the disturbance. Yourselves and the others will be tested one final time. You have earned your Federation the responsibility for this planet. But whether you hold that responsibility with or without the electromagnetic matter interference entirely depends on this final result. And it goes silent.
Pressure, eh?
A small door appears in the wall, outlined in light.
Huh.
So
How do the
In
four of you
Skyhead-
process that?
no. In
Yeah.
Sky's head, it's okay. So we've passed a test.
Yep.
What happened last time that happened? Well, that was back in the other shelter where we passed the test, and then suddenly got bombarded and everything went down to the state of that building.
Fair enough,
So
yep.
maybe taking the door now is better
Yeah.
than later.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Sky is looking nervously at the door. How about the other three?
Gyro is going to look at Pete. Are you going to salvage stuff in here like you did last time?
The last time I did that, we got blown up, so I don't know.
That was not this place's fault.
That's true. He looks around. He doesn't. If Sky wants to leave, he can see that. You
Yep.
know, the rabbit is ready to go. But just does a quick once over to see if there is not really anything to salvage, but anything that kind of sticks out.
In
know, he
fact,
had-
as you're looking around, and you sort of the only things in this room are the monitor, the table, the monitor, and the microphone. And as you get close, you kind of, by this point, you're just checking, and your hand goes right through it, and it disappears.
Yeah, she's gotten used to this being all holographic. That's one of
Yeah.
the reasons she's not going to take anything. The other thing
She's-
is, it's a whole. Yes, welcome over here. We are offering you everything here. Well, if she's being given a gift, she's not going to go look for more. It even gave the word responsibility. So there's nothing she's going to steal from this place.
As a member of the Federation, it is my responsibility to make sure that this super advanced tech isn't used for improper purposes. So, for
Absolutely.
diagnostic purposes, I'm going to poke at this thing anyways.
You
And
you
when you
poke
realize
around,
this is-
and this room is sealed solid. There is
Yeah, he's just-
nothing coming loose in here. There's no blocky in here.
Yeah, no, his response is something along the lines of they sort of learned their lesson the first time, and they made sure he didn't take anything. Oh, it's all bolted down this time, eh?
Solan? What processing is going on in that Vulcan brain?
The first question is, was anything of the room vibrating to produce the sound, or was the sound basically just something somewhere else vibrating air? Or was there actually no vibration whatsoever?
Because I'll give you this, because you were earlier when you were using your foot to check the squishy floor, I'll give you that you were paying attention. The entire room vibrated. The entire room acted as a speaker, as the cone of a speaker vibrated to make the noise. So it literally came from all around you. Which, you're doing the math, like that would be difficult, especially to get all four of you hearing it perfectly and have nobody out of sync. Yeah.
Yeah, especially considering one side has a door in it now.
Yep. It is no longer symmetrical. Yep.
You know,
There is-
probably
there are-
at that
there are
point,
Things that would
Salon's
mess up
hoping this
normal
door
physics.
goes to places where physics makes sense.
Yes. So you also start heading towards the door just because it's yeah. Gyro.
I'm gonna start heading towards the door.
Okay.
Yeah. General
You get-
consensus, yeah, door.
You get to the door. You open it up. Gyro, as you step through, it's like walking into a taser. You're
Ow.
just. It is everything you can do to stay vertical.
Oh.
The other three of you see.
Gyro went first. Somehow.
It doesn't matter who went. I mean,
Doesn't
some of
matter
you
what
might be
order.
through, some of you not through. But when Gyro went through, that's what happened.
Oh.
Some of you can be on this side, some of you can be on that side if you wish.
When Pete sees Gyro start to seize up, the engineering kicks in, damage report. He thinks there's an electrical shock, grabs Gyro and pulls him back out the door.
As you make
In
contact, Gyro, you stop. Perfectly normal. As Pete separates from you slightly, it starts to come back.
Gyro is just going to silently reach an arm back and out, grab Pete and pull them close. Like, please don't let go.
As you pull them closer, you're still vibrating. As he gets closer, it gets better and better. When he touches you, you realize it's not him. It's Blocky. The EMP field here is much stronger than it was when you went in. You are now the only instrument capable of measuring that. As long as
Pete,
you're
can I take
touching
Blocky?
Blocky, you're okay.
Seems like he seems to like you better than me.
Just gonna carefully take Blocky and hold them in my arms like I am
Mhm.
holding a cake. Very
Yeah.
carefully. Like I'm holding it like this is the most prized thing in my life.
Well, when you guys were underground and Blocky was saving you and it was a sphere, you can now see that same sphere just in a slight pale purple hue around Gyro. Well, technically around Blocky.
So I will look at everyone and go, I believe the field outside has gotten worse. Even I can feel it now. I think
The other-
for
yeah.
everyone's safety and for my own comfort here, I would like to keep Blocky with me.
Guy's not gonna understand, but
Pete's pretty dense too. He hasn't figured it out yet. 6 episodes in, hasn't figured it out.
Good.
So, Lan, this response interests me.
Yeah.
The doctor, you just watched your chief officer have what can probably politely be described as a series of seizures, and then request
Yeah.
an inert metal block or an inert block, which appears to have solved the problem.
and
You
you weren't there
know,
part when we got it
After the
originally.
past
either.
like half hour,
Yeah, I'll get to you in a second, Sky.
after the past half hour, I don't think there's like, as much as this shouldn't logically solve the problem, the entire past hour, especially if they keep referring to this block having come from the last time they did this, which he wasn't part of,
Yeah,
it might be one of those. I'll check this out when we're at the ship again.
yeah. For now,
As long
it's
as it doesn't
working.
get any
Let's
worse,
just-
it's
yeah,
fine.
Yep,
As long as we have a duct tape solution, let's just keep going.
absolutely. Head down,
It's a
head for the
stupid
finish
idea
line.
and it works.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's a
Sky, you were
placebo
gonna-
effect.
Yeah, yeah, whatever
You know
it
what,
is,
it's
as
working,
long
I
as it
won't break
works, I
it.
don't care. Yeah, Sky, you were saying?
Well, I was reflecting on part of Solen's perspective there, but
Oh, okay.
not actually being part of when
Having
we got the
not
block.
been first.
All right. Well, in that instance, you look around, each of you, with your own thoughts in your head. Gyro stable again, at least, as long as you've got Blocky. Pete, Solan, Sky, Gyro, all, I imagine, shaken somewhat by the responsibility that you've just been given. 4 who haven't even technically graduated from the academy yet have just
Oh,
taken on the
forget how-
responsibility of an entire seed world.
You forget how that's going to impact someone who's kind of like an embassy of an entirely different everything.
There are, you don't know how many sentient races present on this planet. And you just signed on the dotted line for a whole organization.
That might be a little.
And the
higher
worst
than her.
part is, you're not done yet.
So the good news is Salon's put together enough pieces to think he knows what's going on with the colony that's like everything's dying around them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What is your theory? I'll tell you if you're right. If you're right. If not, I'll give you a hint.
I mean, it has to do with the species. It's trying to preserve the species, so it's trying to basically starve out the colonizers of the planet.
It was, yeah, essentially yes. It wasn't punishing them. It was just moving the ecosystems away
Oh, okay.
so they wouldn't be infected by the humans. With that, you all kind of look around. You're almost back where you started. You're almost in a jungle now. You're obviously in another one of these biomes. This one's a little more northern. It's more pine trees and spruce trees and big pale blue and green lakes that are too cold to swim in. It's much colder and more northern than the last few. But as you look around, there's a large rock sitting beside a tree. And as though he wasn't there before, but he is now, a figure slides down off the rock and lands. Stands up. He wears an admiral's uniform. Curly dark hair, thin chiseled face. Kind of looks around at the four of you. Oh, look. If it isn't a bunch of self-satisfied meatbags. So, had quite the day, have we?
Where's Grok?
Oh, this one? And Grok appears immediately beside you, immediately cowers behind you. How'd you do that? I was hiding in the trees.
Oh no. Oh.
And things don't make sense again.
Oh no. Oh no.
Things just made sense for half a second too.
I'm sorry, I'm loving that too much.
The figure looks around at the four of you and says, so, who wants to go first?
Oh crap!
Gyro's not gonna say a thing.
The shits of the universe have arrived.
And points. Sky. The figure steps towards you. I know. How about I fix your arm? All that'll cost you is the quaint. I make every one of them disappear. Gone. Never were. You get your arm back. Deal? Oh, sorry. Wrong hand.
I can just sort of see it flip around.
Yeah.
No.
I can absolutely see her just crossing. She'll like grab the one arm, clip it on the other side, and then other arm just to do the full crossed arm posture, and be all like, you sound like a few of the doctors I've already talked with. Just how much is this going to screw things over? I'm sorry, I've already gone through all of the discussion of cybernetics, and I've seen that there's far too many things to worry
Your
about.
arm's fixed. It's back the way it was. So, trade it for the quaints? They'll never know. They never existed. You won't even remember them.
I've already accepted that there's two choices that I'm going to face. I either have to deal with this arm the way it is, or accept a natural solution of dealing with some kind of cybernetic solution. And I'm sure I will give you that I don't know anyone with any knowledge of cyber technology, so there's absolutely no way I can get that knowledge. But I'm more willing to face that than whatever uncertainty you're throwing at me.
Nothing uncertain at all. It's fixed. For the rest of your life.
You seem to know me very little. Your presentation clearly does not sit within what makes me comfortable, and I am very quick to get nervous about things that look like they're trying to edge too much in the wrong direction. So you're...
How about this then? And it's your father standing in front of you.
Oh, God.
What's happened to your arm, little one?
I thought I sent a letter about that one.
What does your father look like?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm just playing him. I'd have no idea what he looks like.
He probably has blue hair, contrary to my tone, and notably taller, probably somewhere about half a foot taller, and he's got the same ears. He's also going to look like he's of some excessively high rank in a society you've never seen before.
Yep. And your father says, well, if that nice man can fix it and all he wants is those silly little animals, I don't understand the problem.
Well, you haven't been around for a while. You said that it was up to me to get things working with the Federation around here. So I've been working on that one. Sorry, you can... I hope everything's going smoothly with the Nedians back home, but...
He's dressed as the Admiral again and with the face that you just had a minute ago. It's not really him, you know. And it's your father's face again.
So this is more holograms. Yeah, I don't care anymore.
The arm for the quaints. The arm for the quaints. Your choice.
Having a holographic arm sounds like crap. I'd rather go with a certain...
Your arm's real again? You can
Yeah.
reach across and feel it? It doesn't disappear when you touch it. It's warm. You can feel your own pulse inside it. It's real. It's gone. Back to its wrecked form.
Yeah, but the fact that there's somebody that can just do this is exactly what's leaving her uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So she's still on the whole. There's certainty with dealing with... She's gotten used to dealing with just one arm. She doesn't know cyber technology, but it's there. Those two options still exist.
This is why I keep coming back. You meatbags make no sense. You. He points at Pete. Well, not you. Inside of you. The parasite.
We prefer the term symbiote. There's no accent.
Symbiote, whatever you want to call yourself. We all know what you want. Immortality? Endless adventure?
We already have that.
You're not immortal. You're just long-lived.
Then that's just one more adventure we'll be able to see after.
Oh, first round to you as well. Spins around and looks at Gyro. Hand comes up and starts doing this. So, who wants to be a real boy?
I like what I am.
Do you now? He looks down at Blocky, and Blocky stops functioning. And you start.
Pete goes over and holds Gyro up just to make sure he doesn't fall
Yep.
over. Because, you know.
It's back again, so you can talk.
Well, having everything handed to you at the snap of a finger is not worth it. You gotta experience stuff, so I'm good.
How can you all possibly be so attached to those idiotic little... What is it you called them? Grinks?
Why do you want them?
I have my reasons.
So,
Yes, you've reconsidered.
no, Sky is actually going to go towards the one that's showing a degree of business sense that got called into here, and just simply address it. So, I heard you had a bit of a business knack for things. What do you think? If someone wants something this desperate, does it sound like that there is too much
Oh, she's asking the
importance
Ferengi.
Mm-hmm.
in the birds, or is it something you would be willing to quickly sell out on?
Gronk looks at you, looks over at Q, because this is Q. Looks back at you and says, "It frightens me to say so. But he's not bargaining from a position of power.
You
He
mumbled
wouldn't
that.
be so
Bargaining from a
damned
position of what?
pushy if he was.
Kevin, you mumbled that. He's not bargaining for position of. I heard.
Position
He's
of
blank.
power.
not he's not bargaining from a position of power,
Uh-huh.
which seems odd considering what this person has already showed that they can do."
That's why he hasn't done it already.
Turns and looks at Solan.
If you don't mind me taking a second,
Mhm.
with Gyro kind of going on and off, is there something I can kind of do to figure out if Gyro's, well, especially with the comment of a real boy,
Yes.
or at this point, can I figure probably not organic at this point?
Yeah, reason and medicine. Yeah, because you said not organic, so we'll give you medicine. Yeah, reason and medicine and focus.
Probably
for
with
sure.
talent.
Yeah, absolutely with
Focusing.
focus. Yeah.
It's visible to me and one other player. What happened to you?
Oh.
Oh, because it's not on the frame.
Oh, because you guys are all hidden. Right. Okay. Yeah, you rolled 3 successes, which is actually
With focus?
you
Nope,
can't
so it's
double.
4,
You can't
I
double
think.
up on the 4, so be 4 successes. Yeah. And what was it you wanted to know?
It was pretty much
Gyro-
with
Oh,
the
is-
current
oh, yeah.
starts and stops.
Absolutely, categorically, no questions. Android.
Okay.
6
Not
episodes,
the
ladies and
first.
gentlemen.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Uh,
Yeah, please.
All these episodes, ladies and gentlemen. Finally.
Halfway through episode 6. They're not
Hey, there's only
common.
one that knows them.
There's only
Yeah,
been
no,
a
it's-
couple other ones previous. And one of those
Data,
experiments
I think,
was a
was the
very
first.
bad idea.
Yeah.
But never mind, I
Data was
haven't
the
got time to
first,
get lore into
drawing.
this. But yes,
we
you
have-
become immediately aware your commanding officer is an android.
All
Well,
the
that
And
way.
means that
then,
my
like-
profession is kind of not helpful to them. This is good to be aware of.
Hey,
Gyro?
don't worry, you have an engineer.
Yeah.
But then, like, you being the medical officer, you also kind of realize being on this planet is very bad for their health right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they're still here.
And actually, Pete, give me a insight and engineering,
While invisible.
and then I'll tell you how you did. Yeah.
With focus?
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
wouldn't-
Yeah.
Okay, with focus.
3 successes again, which is actually 4 successes. So it's, yeah. Well, that was a crit. So yeah, 2 successes, 3 successes. So yes, you also figured this out at this moment as Blocky stops working, and you see the zzz, it's like that's not somebody being electrocuted. That's a system being electrocuted.
I'm pretty familiar with getting electrical shocks, and that doesn't look like an electrical shock.
Yeah. For one thing, they haven't peed themselves.
Well, considering some of us have experienced getting electrical shocks,
Yep.
I mean, some
Well-
of us had worse electrical shocks than anyone here.
More of a joke for engineers.
Your character certainly is. Yeah. So the two of you figure it out.
Yay.
Oh,
Yeah, Pete gives Gyro a look, and it's not a "what the fuck are you" look. It's a "why didn't I figure this out earlier" look.
Hmm.
I
And then he's
suspect
just like, as he's holding him, he looks and he's like, "There's a switch behind your ear, son of a no."
I expect I'm just more focused on
there
our
is a
little
switch behind his
merchant
ear.
buddy
Yep.
and his side of the skit. But otherwise, everything's turned to Solan, so that's not Gyro either.
Hmm. Speaking of which, he turns to you. This should be interesting. You're a meatbag like the rest of them, but you're different. Or at least you pretend to be. What do you want, Solan?
Desire.
Remember, you can't lie to me.
I know, which is why I'm curious why you're asking me personally.
I want to hear you say it out loud.
Well, thanks to make sense.
And would that be for, saying it out loud would give it any kind of power it doesn't already have?
No. I just like to talk.
Hmm. So my silence must drive you crazy.
You're beginning to perturb me on levels that the others haven't yet achieved. Yes, if that's what you're going for, yes. Why would you do that?
Hmm.
When I can do this. Solan, you know what it's like to be dead.
Wow.
For just a second. You're back.
And
So,
you say that for some reason you can't do that to the little bird things?
I can. But I want you, he points around at the 4 of you, to sign their death warrants. If you do, I'll leave. I won't bother you anymore. You can go on your little merry way and be the heroes you've always wanted to be.
I know I've tracked it down enough times. I'm pretty sure I know at least where one of the origin points were for the interference, right?
Yes, yeah, there's only one left. And it's the one you guys have been told to head towards.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start walking there. This guy's annoying me.
Turn to walk away from Q. Wow, okay. The other 3 of you, your Vulcan medical officer has decided he's had enough. And he just turns and walks off in the direction that you all know you have to go.
I'm just going to do a roll to see if I remember anything from cadets from the academy,
About Q?
specifically about Q.
Okay,
I got 2 successes. I'm not rolling any focus.
okay. 2 successes, yes. You heard stories. I mean, there are stories of the Enterprise that ran into Q a couple of times. And there's the stories of Riker saying no to the infinite power offered by the Q. What you do know, or at least, I mean, nobody knows, but what the Q has told the Federation on a number of occasions, they're not a thing. They're not a person. They're not an entity. They're a collection. They're a continuum. They are as legion all across time and space, what you see is not even the tip of an iceberg. It's like a tiny
just what
flake
we
of
can
frost on
understand.
the end of a piece of grass on an iceberg on a distant continent. Nothing ever good comes of dealing with Q.
That's kind of what I expected. The general idea of the Federation thing with Q is. I'm going to give him a wide berth
Mm-hmm.
as I start to follow Salon, knowing that the mission is more important than
Yeah.
our personal desires.
And as he sees you going around, he does the bully lunge.
Yeah.
To see if he can get you to twitch.
Hold on, see if I do. I probably will. I'm just having fun rolling dice.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this. See if you do. What would you roll? Command and
It's
control?
gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah. Self-control and command? Yeah. Let's see
Daring
what you got.
command, something like that.
Yeah.
Nope.
No. So you, and then shit. I don't know about you, but me personally, Kevin falls for that. What's that on the under the chin thing? Every fucking time. So yeah, that's basically what you just did. He did the bully lunge and you
And I
reacted,
flinched.
flinched. Sky.
As this guy's kind of like initiated
He
some
does
of my
to you.
essence
Yeah.
culture,
Mhm.
what I'm going to do is, while still leaving my one arm kind of snapped to the side, even though he made it work,
Yeah.
she didn't actually undo that. So it's just been kind of there.
Oh no,
Um,
it does not work. It was returned to its messed up
Yeah,
state.
no. I'm saying the times he did that,
Yes.
she didn't detach the arm, so it still didn't move because it was attached to her
Yeah.
side.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's still there in that whole cross arm position.
Yeah.
Her actual working arm is the one that pulls up from that, and just in front of him draws a nice little design of her culture.
Mhm.
I expect that it sounds like this guy's just good at knowing stuff, so he might know what that symbol
He knows
means. but
everything.
it looks like to everybody else, she's just twiddling her own finger in the air.
Yep.
It's pretty much hope you find blessings somewhere else.
He reaches up his fingers and twiddles back. And the message is, I found it here. And he looks at you and he goes, for now.
He's found a favorite.
And he steps back and does the blend thing that you guys did into the forest, he does into the rock.
That's probably the only thing I find convenient.
Oh, I was gonna have a thing when Gyro walked by.
Oh, do, Absolutely. Retcon. He's still out of the rock. Go. Yes, I didn't ask you, actually.
I don't know or care if Q knows what Gyro has done, but when Gyro looks at Q, it's like in a police video, there's that solid blur that is a person.
Yeah.
Q has just become a solid blur of sensor as Gyro walks past.
Mm-hmm.
So you do not exist to me anymore. Goodbye.
Willfully
to
blocked out.
ignore.
Yep. And as the
That happened
four
before the symbol thing.
of you walk away, undoubtedly thinking about the offers he made, denying them over and over and over. But Q thinks you dost protest too much. You have most certainly not seen the last of what we'll conveniently call them for now. As you recover from this day, it is finally evening. And in the trees ahead of you, in the gathering gloom, you hear the sounds of, I didn't do it very well, the sounds of hundreds of running feet, bare feet.
Bear or bear?
B-A-R-E, like feet with no shoes on, not bar.
That would suck. That would suck.
Like quaint feet? Would we recognize
As you
them?
look in that direction and say, maybe, you're thinking maybe it's quaint, out of the trees comes a row of legs from the knees down, basically, connected on a big fleshy bar across the top. So it's just like a bunch of legs, and they go when they run. They back up. But it moves in a pattern like a millipede's legs, so there's only ever 2 on the ground at any given time. One of these steps out on the path in front of you and somehow manages to bow at the ankles. All of it from end to end like a wave.
Like
And then
the
it just turns around and with a little row of bums across the back, heads off into the trees.
Well, I didn't know there was more than one moon on this planet. Sorry, I had to.
That was so good. I want to drop the curtain there, but I want to give everybody a chance to respond to this day. You see ahead of you the light of a fire pops up in the forest. And you can see by that light dozens of these creatures gathering around a small fire, sitting on leaning against logs, using their prehensile toes to put food, and mostly berries and nuts and such, over by the fire to cook it. One of them, the one that you followed, turns and looks at you again, and with one of its little feet comes up and goes, and gestures you in.
I think we're being invited.
Interesting.
Well, on Sky's situation, quite interestingly enough, even though she still stood firm about the whole, she didn't like that invitation. There's still a lot going on in her head about the provocation of the options she knows.
Oh, yes.
Because, sure, she might have stood against that weirdness, but it did invoke the whole consideration of the options she knows. Which one is she more treasuring? Dealing with the arm as it is, or trying to find a more natural way to make it work? And so she'll probably, it's a quiet little campfire. She's kind of really distracted right now. She'll have the one arm finally unhooked, and it's kind of just like holding it with the other arm.
Yep.
And she would just walk over to the little campfire thingy, just sitting among it's practically quaint as far as it matters to her.
One of them reaches over with a foot and pushes a stump over where you are, so you've got a place to sit.
And she's going to sit there just holding up her hand, staring at it.
Looking at your damaged limb. Pete, next.
Pete's honestly surprised at the attempt of communication. And keeping in mind with what we learned before Jerkface showed up, he's going to take this as a good sign. He's going to look to the rest of them and say, it's free food, guys. And he knows how terrible MREs are. So, given
So you
that,
head in. Again, one of them shoves a stump over to you for you to sit on, a log for you to sit on. Yeah.
And Rusper, you're right. I'm not sorry.
Solan. I always like to save the the head officer for last, because they're the ones who's got the most to think about. So Solan.
Okay, so he enters enough to kind of accept the invitation,
Mm-hmm.
but he's still kind of steps away just a little bit, anyway, just for a while, just kind of figure out exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, as much as he can, or kind of put together enough of a web of almost
we lost
sanity
him.
because, everything was kind of broken. And then reality broke again.
Yeah.
Get away.
Processing.
So you step away that little bit to process. Gyro. Now that Q is gone and you've got Blocky back, you're fine. Physically. What do you do?
Well, now Gyro is messing with their hair to cover that switch behind their ear that Pete noticed. But like, they're not overly stressed about people knowing what they are.
Sure. Yeah.
If one of these creatures pushes a stump over to them, they're just going to gently push it to somebody else before sitting on the ground with Blocky.
Okay.
And they're going to just kind of sit there and try and process everything that's going on. And mostly just how messed up are they going to be when they finally get off this planet?
Yeah, you're going to require some maintenance for sure.
Yeah.
At least on the bright side, you can be reprogrammed to be fixed. You look around at your crew and wonder what permanent damage has been done by this experience already.
I am also keeping an eye on them, like seeing how they're behaving.
Yep.
That is
Absolutely.
probably a really strong point where I'm going to have to throw this in because the timing is absolutely perfect, and I'm
Yes.
sorry to drop this in on you.
Don't be sorry, just drop.
But what's probably going to happen as she's looking at her arm, she's going to go and she's going to start being a little more verbal about her concerns. And it's all like, because she had gone and reflected on it. It honestly, is cybernetics even an option? I don't even know how the people of this federation handle this stuff. Apparently, it doesn't entirely work on someone from my culture. I don't know if it's going to be safe. I don't even know anybody who uses the cyber technology stuff. So actually having a proper real working arm is impossible. I don't even know how this stupid cyber stuff works. It's not like I know anyone who has to go through any of that any of this stuff that requires having a stupid robotic arm.
You're just
Yeah.
spiraling. But then
So
the
is
thought
she-
process, yeah.
She's rambling like that. So Pete's just like, hey, they managed to get a guy who's been blind from birth a pair of eyes that work so well, he doesn't need half the diagnostic equipment I do.
That's from your
We'll-
culture.
Duh. It's not my culture. I'm not human.
You're still a lot more from around here than I am.
You never know. If we got dolphins in space, I'm pretty sure we can figure something out, eh?
And at this point, one of the feet
I was honestly hoping that Gyro would jump in, but okay.
interrupt. My rules are you guys know my rules. Interrupt me at any time. I'm the plot.
Okay.
But at
Okay,
that
if Gyro
moment,
doesn't want to interject, that's fine.
at that moment in the conversation, one of the feet starts to stomp in the dirt. Boom, 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 boom. At the other end of the same set of legs, two of the feet start to do a counter tempo.
We lost someone.
He just
there.
dropped out again. That's okay. We're almost at the end. I'll fill him in after. And they start to join in all around the group. They're dancing. Creatures with anywhere from 8 to 16 legs each, and that's all they are is legs and bums, start dancing around the fire in a moment of sheer joy. One sentence responses.
Finally takes his pack off and starts drumming. Starts playing along.
Starts drumming on the pack. Gyro?
thinks about their home planet and just starts kind of swaying and bobbing their head to the beat.
Sky.
Here's we got Solon back. But Sky, yeah, she's still gonna be worried about what she's worried about, so she's totally not paying attention.
Okay. Solan, I'm not sure exactly when you dropped out. The feet creatures started to dance, creating the beat by stomping the ground rhythmically while they're dancing around the fire. I asked each of these other fine folks, and I'm going to ask you one sentence. How does Solan respond? Silence is a sentence. I mean, that works for me.
He watches.
Just a big sigh. Do you join in in any way? Do you move rhythmically in any fashion?
Yep. He's more just using it as an opportunity to kind of see, like, okay, so this,
Oh God, now
Those
he's
are
doing
connected to your
sociology.
body.
This guy is
Yeah.
insufferably scientific. I love him. But
sometimes. It's just like, dude, just enjoy the moment. It's like, no, I don't feel anything. It's like, okay,
No.
there you go.
I need to learn. And with
It's on the other
that,
end of the spectrum.
with those thoughts and a bubble of light in a forest that isn't from here, it's from you don't know where, you don't know when. And these feet creatures, they're sentient, but there's no place to put a brain. Q is on you, and there's no way he's given up. You're still not done. You've got all the responsibility, and none of the benefits. And it doesn't matter, because how the hell do you stay angry with 300 dancing feet? There's a cloud of dust rising around the fire as the rhythms get incredibly complicated. Imagine 300 drummers, right? 150 drummers, 300 feet. So 150 drummers all playing at the same time. It's like the ultimate drum circle.
It's like they're all doing the river dance or something.
Yes, yeah, it's all working together, but it's all incredibly intricate. You can find individual sort of melodies and follow them.
Ooh.
I expect, actually, so you know,
Ooh.
there's been a lot of, like, she has to worry about this, she has to worry about that, she has to worry about those. It is just the simple quietness of her surroundings that is letting her just worry about her.
You just finally breathe out. Is that 4 deep breaths by the end of this?
No, I don't think she's doing a deep breath, but as
Well,
said,
just like you
that
said,
is when she doesn't have to worry about else. She
that
just worries about
relax
her.
moment, just that moment of where you realize how tense you are and you breathe for just a second.
Unclench your jaws, straighten your shoulders. Remember to breathe.
And head forward on. And with that, at that moment, as the sun goes down, we will draw a conclusion to this episode. There was way more silence in that episode than most people would say was healthy for a stream. And I am ecstatic that it was all there because it means I made you think. And that's, to me, what Star Trek is all about, is thinking, solving problems, and working your way through it. You guys are magnificent. Thank you so much. You're all you think you hate Q now? You ain't seen nothing yet.
That was a
but-
great puzzle, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed that puzzle a lot. That was, it's tough building, simple but complicated. That you guys just blew the first one out of the water, so I upped it a bit this time. But with that, speaking of thank you, it's time for the thank yous. Thank you so much to Lanny, Hellhounds 20, Bison Stonefist, and Nick. Thank you so much for coming and playing this game with me. Again, I'll mention it for those that don't know. None of us have played this before. It's a totally new universe. Most of these fine folks don't even have a lot of experience with Star Trek in general. So thank you all very much for joining into that. I had a blast tonight. I hope you did too. I hope you're confused, but have an idea where you got to go next. That's the plan. 2 episodes left, so do not drop out, folks. People in chat, thank you, first of all, for watching today. 2 more episodes left to wrap this up and get them off of this planet, solve this problem, and hand this seed world to the Federation.
Someone that knows what they're doing.
Somebody who wants the responsibility. And one more thank you for all the people that watch this on YouTube in the future. Thank you as well. I appreciate every single view that we get.
As always.
And as always, until next time, please be nice to each other. Good night.